Welcome, everyone. This is Polyphenols, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news on LOTRO, and here are LOTRO players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin,
Hi.
Sanswinda,
Hello.
Quarendus,
Hello, everyone.
Arendus,
Hey, everybody.
and Calabathian.
Hi. Lord, my cat is meowing. Okay, but yes, hi.
Welcome to this week's episode, where we'll begin with a note that on Wednesday, the usual maintenance downtime was extended a little bit so they could do a little extra cleanup and polish in the background, and they're hoping that this will help to deal with lag.
It didn't.
It
Spoiler
didn't?
alert. Mm-mm.
Well, then I guess that answers the question, because one of the questions that the people at Staying Stone Games were asking was, did it improve the performance any for you? Because if it did, then maybe they will more often decide to do the extended downtimes to try to give the little extra polish there. But apparently
Yeah,
it wasn't as
didn't really
successful as they
notice.
hoped.
Well, I'm sure it helped some people, but it didn't help me.
Oh. Well, how good of a machine do you have?
Shh. It didn't help me.
Ah!
It didn't really help me either, and my machine is better than hers.
Okay. Um,
Shh, Pineleaf, go to sleep.
Hey, it's just the beginning of the episode.
It's okay. Go to sleep.
Episode
Let's head into our-
395. The hosts go rogue. We take over for time.
Let's head on to issue 191 for the Lotro Beacon, where we see Durin looking over the host at the Gabilaha.
God bless you.
What?
There's a surprising lack of fish slapping going on in this screenshot.
Oh, well, that's because you're not in it, Sans.
Oh, that explains it.
So you need to
Well,
send one
Blanca's
in
not there
as
either.
close as you can to, try to recreate this image, but have you fish slapping in the background.
Yeah.
Just submit your own picture.
No, see, if all they had to do was take Leland and put him in the middle there, and I would be there fish slapping as many times as possible with
Well-
all of my characters.
No, Durin is the one you're supposed to be fish slapping in this picture.
If it were a toss-up between Leland and Durin, Leland all day, every day.
No,
yeah,
no.
but you're not
You
in
haven't
this
gotten
part
to
of
the
the story.
Yeah, you haven't gotten to the story yet. Trust me, Durin would take precedence all the time. How to start a war between dwarves in 12 easy steps. That's what they should have called. That's what they really should have called this update or the storyline. Not whatever they ended up calling it. It should have been how to start a war between dwarves in 12 easy steps. We're only on step like 5 or 6, but it's coming.
Oh, you could smell it down the end.
Well, I'm pretty sure every time Durin opens his mouth, he manages to offend some other faction of dwarves. So, yeah.
I don't think
Well,
he manages to. He intentionally offends another faction of dwarves.
No, actually, I don't think he always intends to. I mean, sometimes, yes, he definitely intends to, but I don't think he actually intends to every single time he says something. And he manages to every single time he says something.
Okay, fair.
Durin, this is why we can't have nice things.
We can.
So here's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was thinking then that means they should call the update after Gundabad, step 12.
Yes.
You know, there's also 12-step programs. But no, I was also going to ask a potential what if that might be interesting. If Thorin Oakenshield had not died way back, and in The Hobbit, and he were king instead of Durin, how do you think he would have handled all of that?
Well, first off, Durin is not the king.
Well, I mean,
Durin is the son of the king.
yeah.
Yeah, he's the prince.
But still, I mean, he's in charge of something, and
Durin probably still would have wound up in charge of whatever he's in charge of, so we would still be at this point.
I don't
Yeah,
think Thorin would have
Because I'm
stopped
pretty sure
Durin.
we got here because Durin is trying to prove himself, if I remember the story correctly.
yes.
And Durin would still be trying to prove himself, even if Thorin hadn't died. So we would still be here.
Besides, I haven't heard anything about Durin having any children. So that means we would still have Dain would have been the one who would have been the next king.
well, yeah,
followed
Thorin
by
didn't know,
Thorin
but
the second.
yeah, and then I just didn't know if because it is
Well, yeah.
potentially that Thorin would still be king, and I didn't know how
Well-
Thorin would have handled things.
He might not have
Different
lived this
Thorin is
long,
king.
but I thought then instead of dying, it would have went to his nephews if they had lived.
Ooh.
Yeah, but they died
So it's
too.
more important. Yeah, I was to say it's more important whether or not they stayed alive.
Oh, you got a point there. Interesting question. For the community spotlight, Paul Noluni presents When Heroes Cry on February 13th on Laurelin. You can learn more about that concert on LOTROartists.com. Renfell makes a Rohan feast in the latest LOTRO cooking in real life. See the recipe over on YouTube. Manapods helps you figure out the instance finder, and you can watch the video on that on his YouTube channel.
I have to say, Manapots is a fantastic name, by the way.
Yeah.
Just pointing that out.
All right. And for our weekly comment, what should you do when you find a pie laying on a shelf with no owner in sight?
Leave it alone.
Perfect it.
First, to make sure it's not one of Holly Hornblower's.
Oh,
Am I a hobbit?
See, if people would just leave each other's pies alone, we wouldn't have to worry about this.
No. If you leave a pie unattended on a shelf, it is fair game for everybody. However,
Yes.
the
To
first
me,
thing
I
you
was
want to
looking
do,
at it more like a Zen koan. If a pie disappears and nobody's around,
exactly.
Never-
There's nobody there to know who takes it.
I mean, presumably this shelf is in a public place, because people don't just leave a pie laying on a shelf with the door wide open for me to find it.
Well, they
Well,
leave them cooling on windowsills. That was
I was
a
gonna say,
thing.
now windowsills look like shelves from the outside, kind
Yeah.
of, but
True, but they're clearly
Well, and some of the-
windowsills that belong to somebody, and you kind of know who they belong to and how much trouble you'll be in with that person when they find out.
Not if you just happen to be passing through town. You don't know whose houses are whose. Besides which, if they leave it unattended in plain view and there is nobody around, still the first thing you should do is sniff it and make sure it's not one of Holly Hornblower's.
Yes, sniff it, make sure
Yes.
it's not one of Holly Hornblower's.
Do not want a pie with toxic berries.
In fact, the first answer over on the thread was to return it to Holly Hornblower.
Another fun answer in the thread said, anything is better than an elf on a shelf, so we'll all take a pie on a shelf.
That's true. I would take a pie on a shelf any day. Actually, I will take the pie off the shelf and then eat it, provided it smells okay.
Right, as long as it smells okay, you could protect it very easily. Like, the most protected place it could possibly be would be in your belly.
Yeah.
something about the way you said something a while ago, Terry, has me thinking of the Robert Frost poem about stopping in the woods in the snowy evening. It's kind of like, because I could not stop for pie. It's like, for some reason, my brain is playing with this and really wanting to do something with it.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
Because I could not stop for death. He kindly stopped for me.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Because I could not stop for pie, they kindly left one for me.
Oh boy, yes.
Now, Mary Rose points out, though, that we could totally blame somebody's cosmetic pet,
There you go.
even if we had to, have a disclaimer while wiping our mouth.
Well, I happen to know that the Luminori has that one of those giant dogs named Cat, so we'll blame it on the cat.
There you go.
I mean, the cat probably could have reached.
Totally.
Ooh, or like those
So,
like the big what are they? Like they sort of look like a German shepherd. It came with one of the most recent pets, like the really tall ones that are about as tall as a dwarf or something like that. One of those could probably reach a windowsill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think the one I was referring to is that Mastiff that they have.
Yeah.
Too. It's like I want an Irish wolfhound pet. Sorry,
Anyway.
random.
I want to be able to ride them because they're totally tall enough that my hobbit should be able to.
Blame it on Gware's baby Moomok.
yeah.
Hey, actually, Gware doesn't have one. It would be
probably
Zot, but
be
anyway.
Oh,
mine.
sorry, Zot's baby Moomok.
I can only imagine then that Robert Frost should have ended his poem with, I have apple pies to eat and miles to go before I sleep.
Yes.
Let's head on to the fan site news. Last week, our title was once again ignored. For the LOTRO stream is your first stop to find LOTRO on Twitch. This week, Druid Fire heads to Osgiliath, the Tolkien professor, discusses language, and Big Ed Mustafa kicks off the weekend. And also on Twitch, Geek Fight goes to a kin run. Arathar NWH gets rating fever, and Cinerus Sea Goose Graustein fights a dragon in a German language stream.
Oh, German language. Okay, that's why it's pretty much just vowels.
That's why it's unpronounceable by Pine Leaf. Well, of course,
There's a
you
lot
probably
of
say that about
German names in this. No.
Over on YouTube, Louis7 delves into skirmishes. Elder Gamer Girl earns the trust of the Glines, and Conave Greenleaf creates a Spanish language stream running the epic book. And Lena writes a song the in-game chat filter doesn't want you to hear. Read the lyrics of All the Biscuits on Lena's blog.
I need to
Well,
see
she's
this
got a
song now.
biscuity burrow, right? So why not more biscuits? Or is that a different person?
I don't know.
it's the same
It's the same person.
Yes.
And for our screenshot of the week, a player who didn't provide us their character name sent in this screenshot, and we thought it was fun. Thank you for sending it. It looks like we have a dwarf taking a backflip.
Mm-hmm.
He's a bat, and he looks like a dwarf, and
He's hanging upside down
Dwarf.
from some limb, you know.
You can send in
No,
your
nice
screenshot by
timing.
emailing at lotro@sandstonegames.com. And let us know who you are if you want to get credit.
Yeah.
And that's it for the Lotro Beacon this week. Then let's head into our store sales. Terry Adwin, what's on sale this week?
Excuse me while I giggle over the coupon code this week.
Isn't it great?
This week, the weekly coupon is the fall injury immunity times 5 with coupon code parkour now through February 11th. I think that's fantastic.
You
Also
definitely
known
want
as
this.
the Sanswindas special.
Special, yeah. Also, 25% off war steeds and mounts, riding skills, war steed cosmetics, movement speed buffs now through February 11th. So, journeyman riding. Get it now.
Yay.
hint, hint, Academy. We have one member in the Academy who has never gotten journeyman riding and is just never going to get it. Never, and I'm like, it's on sale. Get it. You know who I'm talking about.
They're always the pokey slow one.
But I shouldn't say that because then I have someone I can actually run with who's, as slow as I am and therefore, usually gets lost too. So it's like both of us. So, I'm not alone.
And that person can always summon us, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. You'll never walk alone then.
Yes. Or rather, I'll never get lost alone. So
You
that.
never get lost alone.
But no, I'm actually waiting for the store people to have like the fall injury immunity ×5 with the coupon code Sanswinda special. Because you want to do it.
Well, it might be something more subtle, like call it sans injury.
Which would be funny. And probably more accurate because I pretty much only have the ones that came free and always forget to use them because I just go off of things anyway. But they're very useful if you do remember to use them.
They don't keep
Then-
you from dying, though.
Yes.
Okay,
Let's
I just
then
thought
head
of
into our week.
Sorry, go ahead.
Let's head into our weekend gaming. Calibathian, what were you up to when you weren't interrupting me?
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to do that because I just suddenly thought of a new player question.
Oh, we have a new player question. Oh, what's that?
Yeah. Just basically, because this kind of came to me and I forgot about it until now. What is the max level of an LI?
That depends on which max level you're talking about.
Well, I know that like when I'm doing like right now when I'm getting all my scrolls slowly but surely, they have like max tier 69, max tier whatever. So I guess the end game version of an LI, like my first stage LIs, what would be the max, I guess the max level or tier that, when they're all finished and you can't get them any higher, period, end of statement, until, they decide to, change the
Give us
LI
another
system.
update with. Well, no, they're going to give us another update with more tiers.
Many
Again,
tiers.
it depends on whether you're talking pre-imbued or imbued LI, because they're two different things. The ones that have tiers are strictly referring to imbued LIs, because any of those scrolls are going to work on a pre-imbued LI. So if you have not imbued your LI, doesn't matter what tier the scroll is, it's always going to work, unless it's below Anphilis level. So it needs to be like an Anphilis level or a tiered level, and then it'll work on your pre-imbued LI. And then the max number of levels you can get is 70, and that's if you've used a Scroll of Delving, an Anphilis Scroll of Delving, to get those extra 10 levels unlocked. And that is the level at which you want to imbue it. So you need to get it to level 70 and have all of your legacies up to 6 and have 3 Starlight Crystals on the thing, and then you can imbue it. And then your max tier for the legacies is going to be 83.
Okay.
Not your DPS
each-
legacy, though.
For each legacy. And then I don't remember what it is for the crystals, because that's actually a different metric.
It is, and I don't remember what those go up to right offhand either. And your
6
overall item level is
odd.
something like 493. I don't really remember. It's but the minimum level that you can use the LI changes by level cap. So like you'll get LIs that'll say like minimum level 100 or minimum level 50 or minimum level 65. And those are actually referring to your player character level. And the scrolls that you get that have a level like that have to be used on a legendary item of that level or below, which makes it harder to talk about LIs because like you have the whole level 100 LI level things where you've got the tiers and the tiering up, and the new scrolls are all usable for some tiers of those. That's a bad way to say that. But then you've got the ones that you get as you're leveling up to that point that are only usable on LIs lower than that level. The usable to max level whatever is not the same as usable to max tier whatever, I guess is what I'm trying to tell you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so like at level 60 something in Moria. You get a bunch of stuff that's applicable to level 60 something, whatever of your LI. So you have to make sure that your LI isn't above max level to use or minimum level to use 65. Because you need to be at least, your character has to be level 65 in order to be able to equip the thing, and then the thing is considered level 65. And then when you deconstruct it to get legacies off of it, you can't just use those legacies on whatever weapon you want. You have to, it actually really only goes up to like the next tier. So if you're deconstructing level 65, you can use the legacies on a 75. But if you go with a 64, it actually goes to 70, I think. And it was really, really annoying trying to level up LIs doing it that way, by the way. That sucks. It's terrible
really
mechanic.
annoying.
You should get rid of it.
Yeah. Well,
And I end up selling most of the scrolls that I get off LIs at those levels because by the time I'm deconstructing the LI, there's a good chance that the LI that I want to use the scroll on either has the legacy or is too high of a level to be able to put the legacy on it.
Yeah.
I get the impression that leveling up LIs is full of blood, sweat, and tears.
It kind of really
Lots
is.
of tears right now. Lots of
So
tears.
many tears.
Yes, but the actual like max usable level for LIs is 100. So, like at level 100, the LI you get will be the LI that you will be the level of the LI that you can use for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and you won't see LIs dropping higher than level 100. They did briefly because it was a bug, and they fixed it.
Right. So level 100, like minimum level 100 LIs are the highest, like minimum level LIs that you'll find.
And that is the level at which you can imbue. You actually cannot imbue anything lower than a level 100 LI.
And you cannot imbue bridles.
You cannot imbue bridles. And once you do imbue, you have your work cut out for you, so you can thank Standing Stone Games for that, however you wish.
Let's then head into our week in gaming. Calabathian, what were you up to?
Apparently making everybody sad because they had to explain LIs. But
thanks for that.
Too soon.
But no, sorry guys. I had noticed, and I didn't have anyone around to ask that. It had like they had changed like the max, like from 59 to 69 or whatever at in Minas Tirith that you could get, and I was like, hold up, So I wasn't understanding what the difference kind of was. So yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, you can use more of the Minas Tirith ones now, which is
okay,
better than it could have been, but not better than it was.
Well, this week, I found myself starting to pronounce the word celebrate, and I just almost did it there as celebrate, because I've played the game too much, and Elvish is just sinking into my brain. So yeah, every time I see that word, I want to go celebrate. No, I mean celebrate. Has nothing also to do with the fact that that's kind of the name, username I'm going with, and my character name, and that's I've heard it a lot. Nothing at all, I promise. Funnily enough, this was kind of amusing. I have Celevorn, my hunter, and he was doing Minas Tirith dailies, and during one of the, I think it was either something in the North Gate. It had to be the South Gate, actually. South Gate. I was running around and killing orcs or Urukai, one or the other. But I magically killed an orc without touching it or shooting it. I guess it was lag. But pretty much it just ran up, roared at me, and then it fell over dead. And I never targeted it, and there was nobody else around. So I'm like, I don't know what happened there. It was just like,
What did he have for lunch?
I don't know. I'm like, man. So I guess it was something lag related. But yeah, it was hilarious. I was like, but I didn't target. How did he die?
What
didn't
line
mean
are
to
you
shoot
running? You didn't
Red line.
accidentally spit out a trap or
blue.
something.
It was blue. I didn't have
Okay.
traps or anything. That was what was so funny. He literally ran up like he was going to hit me and then fell over and he was dead. And I got credit for killing him. And I'm like,
That's pretty funny.
So I had to have targeted and actually killed him, but the lag was such that it didn't even like on my screen target him before it targeted something else that I was doing, because the lag admittedly was pretty bad at that point for me. But outside of that, I tried to play Craft the World multiplayer version with like 5 people. And after watching dwarves sinking through the earth, and I knew that they were tunneling, but the tunnel didn't show up on my screen because everything was glitching. So they just would sink through the earth. And after watching that and running around, and all these little dwarves running around in underwear, while mine weren't, they were dressed. Everyone else had like bikini top and bottom if they were girls, or just the bottom if they were guys, which by the way, they start out with these stone swords, and the way they carry them on the outside of their body blocks that lower half, so it literally looks like these dwarves are running around naked. And I'm like, I don't want to see that. But and then finding weird things stacking on top of each other, like here's a gate, and then on top of that is like some little crossed wooden spikes, like a barricade, and on top of that is, something else. And I'm like, we aren't even to the point of where we can make this. I don't know where this is coming from. I went ahead and I backed out once, and then after it kept on doing it, I just was like, guys, I can't even see what I'm doing. So I left, and then heard from everybody that I was promptly, apparently, a door on other people's screens. I became a door. There was my name in orange, and then it was pointing down to the door.
It
But I
was.
wasn't
It was really weird.
It was just I was the door. And I'm like,
Telebathian has left the building.
No, Calabathian is the building, okay? And then I have decided to change the uploading time and day of A Berg's Tale to Sunday mornings, because it seems like I might be able to get a little bit more time and everything to actually get it written and let everybody read it. And then have it uploaded. And I think it's better if I do it after the podcast rather than before. That way we can talk about it after it's been out for a little while, instead of literally it comes out like the same morning, and I might try, accidentally spoil stuff. So, I see Arenda's typing on her notes. So, how about your week, Arenda's? Stop typing and talk.
Sorry, I was trying to figure out how to word something. It's been a while since I've done this. So as far as LOTRO goes, I officially, I guess I'm a big kid now. I made it to level 100 for the very first time.
Congratulations!
Yay! I know, right?
Yeah, it's the actual Horrendous and not the fake Horrendous.
Yeah.
As we decided earlier.
Yeah, we had some laughs about that. But yes, my Landroll champ, the first character that I ever made it to level 100 through actual leveling. This is not a Valard character. I have a couple of those, but this is the first character to do it legitimately. I do have to say, as part of the epic story between, level, 95 or wherever I was and level 100, was really, really good. And I especially loved the Helm's Deep, I believe they're called the Storied Tales. Sorry if I get that wrong. But the alternative to epic battles, I thought that was really, really good. It really tied in with the story and still made me feel like I was part of an epic battle without having to do the epic battle. So props to SSG for putting that option in there. I would highly recommend doing them at least on one character, whether it's main, alt, whatever. I would recommend doing them at least once. Other than that, after moving through, Helm's Deep and moving into Gondor for the first time, I got to Dol Amroth, and oh my gosh, it has no business being as pretty as it is. Seriously. I mean, I've been to Minas Tirith. I did like on some of my Valard to 120 characters, and I did it on Bull Roarer once before they even made the 120 Valar. So I've been to Minas Tirith, and it's gorgeous. I haven't been to anywhere else in Gondor, but oh my goodness, Dol Amroth has just won so far. So we'll see how everything else goes.
So are you saying that it needs to be more like Minas Morgul?
No. From everything I've heard about Minas Morgul, it's creepy, but in a good way. But I think Dol Amroth wins so far. I'll let you know once I actually get to Minas Morgul. But as far as that's it for pretty much for LOTRO. For other games, I tried Craft the World for the first time and got one of my dwarves stuck in a puddle. Thank you to everyone for telling me how movement works in that game. Apparently, I need some help. I also downloaded ESO for the first time. Only got through the tutorial before I had to go do something else, but enjoyed it so far. So we'll see. At least the tutorial's good. So we'll see how the rest of the game goes. Guer, how was your week?
Before we go there, I just wanted to ask, how deep was the puddle?
I think it was like maybe a one tile puddle or whatever. He could have stood up. And see, that's the thing. He was,
Some of the dwarves just forget that they know how to swim, and so they'll just like stay there indefinitely until they drown.
Well, and what's funny is that
they're not the smartest dwarves in the game.
Really not. And that was my first time playing Craft the World, period. And so we're dropped in the middle of multiplayer. And so Sans is trying to tell us how to do things, and Cinders is trying to tell us how to do things. And I'm over here going, okay, that's great. I know I need to learn how to craft, but can I stop drowning first? So.
Oh, trust me. You have some dwarves that are just like, stop drowning. And they're like, no. And you're like, but...
No, but seriously, thank you to everyone else for telling me how movement works, because that would have been an interesting one if I just died right there.
So, you'd asked me how my week was. Gorinda's cleared out the instance meta deed for Buried Girlaran, and is now Rogmal's Bane. She also did weeklies in Minas Morgul. She also went and poked at the Watcher again some more, but you just don't get enough arms to defeat to get that title. Someday, if I can ever get enough arms of the Watcher in the Vial Mall, I will have that one done too. My Bjorni Metalsmith is working on Honored Master of the Guild and is level 40 and really wants to get past the Watching Stones in Angmar, and has that may be my next adventure. I may see just how overpowered is the Bjorni. Do I really need to go to the Troll Shalls and play through the epic first?
No.
Go ahead and take the chapter 6 and just go and get that done.
If you're level 40 already, you can totally do it.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, that report later on that. In other games, it was mostly ESO this week, and I got an amusing and dubious achievement in ESO with my main this week. It kind of ties in with the fact that same character then went thieving in Abba's Landing later. Actually, had already been thieving there once, because managed to find 3 pieces of armor that I could steal. I thought I was taking 1 and I got 3. I'm like, okay, so that's 3 pieces, and I need, is it 6 total for armor?
There's 7, but we had picked up
7.
Some gloves somewhere else, I think.
Fair. Yeah, but so we went to Abba's Landing and found everything but pants. You cannot get pants in Abba's Landing. You cannot steal them.
At least not easily.
There are no rangers.
Well, yeah, not evilly like you're supposed to for this deed, for this achievement. So I ended up actually finding them in the Fighters Guild in Daggerfall. Gee, thanks guys for just leaving this pair of greaves laying here and nobody around. If you put them all on and you commit a crime, and then either let them kill you or get arrested and pay the fine, they take away everything that you're wearing that is stolen. So you're there in basically a bikini. And it's called indecent exposure. And it's hilarious. Although the thing was, I ended up having to let them kill me because I kept trying to steal a soul gem or something, but I forgot to turn off the deal where you can't harm innocents. So I'd have to kneel and I'd be stealthed to steal, and it's a night blade, and they wouldn't catch me. I had 3 or 4 stolen things in my bag when I finally, besides what I was wearing, when I finally got caught. So yeah. Sans, on the other hand, did a really good job. Did it first, and I heard, "See you later, I'm running." I turned around and saw her streak by in her bikini running down the road, which was the most hilarious moment my week had. Thank you, Sans. But yeah, I ended up getting killed to get that one. But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that. Of course, I was introduced to the Thieves Guild in the first line of that too, and ended up killed in the mission, which, by the way, will drop your bounty, which is a good thing. I discovered later. Meanwhile, then there's what I kind of dubbed in my head, making the notes here. The shiny duo are getting ready to go to the Glenumbra Moors because werewolves. Yeah, there's a whole story on that. But yeah, the shiny duo, because I'm running with a Magicka Dragon Knight, and that's all fire. And I am a Stamina Templar, and that's some fire and sunlight, light. Yeah, so we're very shiny. Even in the pouring rain, we light up the landscape a bit. It's kind of fun.
That's a fun storyline.
Oh, it's an amazing storyline so far. I'm really enjoying it. Sans, what did you get up to this week?
Well, I started off the week participating in an epic Dragok battle on Monday night. Thanks to Finneor, Maven, and Natesh. That was so much fun. And I helped them open it, and we went and we saw Dragok, and we heard Dragok, and we ran through the fiery breath of Dragok, and then we defeated Dragok, and it was awesome. I love Dragok. Yeah. I've got to go see Dragok again sometime soon. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. We had 6 people, and we were all level 130. So the goal was to not use any damage on the body except for the fellowship maneuver, and that was pretty fun. Interesting challenge to it. And then I played some Pirate 101 with my nephew, and he got a cool new pirate ship because he's actually been questing. So I got to admire it and go riding on his new pirate ship with him while he said all the kinds of piratey arg things. So that was fun. And I introduced Pineleaf to the Outlaws Refuge in ESO. Sorry about that, Pineleaf, if you really didn't want to be introduced to it. And kind of showed him around.
Promptly left.
Then I tried to make use of it with Guare later after we completed Quinn's quest, which I think is the first on the Thieves Guild line. But I forgot I had a 493 gold bounty after Quinn's quest. Yeah, it was pretty bad. And so Guare's bounty got wiped because she died. But I didn't die, and so I still had the bounty, and it was ticking down. I think it got down to 393 gold, and they drop you in the docks of Abba's Landing, which is nowhere near the Thieves Guild hideout, and there are guards all over the place, some of them with lanterns, and it's possible to sneak through the town, but I don't know the town that well. So Guare kindly ran to the way shrine, and I ported to her, and then ran to the Outlaws Refuge from there because it's pretty easy to drop to the sewers. And I forgot that the whole reason that I was skirting the town was because I had a bounty. And so I'm like down there, I finish out Quinn's quest. I'm like looking at the NPCs, looking at the different artifacts down there, noting that you can't actually steal anything inside the thieves' den. And
Honor
totally
among thieves?
totally forgot to clear my bounty while I was down there. So we left. And the bounty was still ticking down. I ran straight into a guard. And, yeah. That was an oops. And then I ran away from the guard and got a bigger bounty. But I didn't lose all my stuff, so that was cool.
I managed to get you back safely, finally.
Yes, you got me back safely, and it was kind of fun. But yeah, it was also kind of like, oh, I should have remembered. Especially since it's like counting down in bright red letters on the right side of my screen.
I'm just kicking myself because I just now realized I should have just ran out to the way shrine again. There we like did like Starsky and Hutch, like hiding behind the trees, like kind of snuck through town again. I was like doing reconnaissance and then come over here to this one. It's like I didn't even think of it.
That's okay. Yeah. Well, then we found that nice like 3-for-1 deal, so I had to do that all over.
3-for-1 deal?
Well, yeah, it looked like it was just like this shirt sitting out on a stand in the middle of nowhere with nobody around. And
Like a pie?
yeah, kind of like a pie. But when you pick it up, it's actually like a shirt and shoulders and a headpiece. So it's like a 3-for-1 deal. Which started the other end of the thieving spree. And I got a cool floating rock pet in ESO on the EU server. Mostly because like I've got characters on both servers and they're not all at the same levels. But I wanted the cool floating rock pet, so I was trying out PvP on both servers because like the times that I could play tended to have more people on the EU servers, so there was a better chance of having enough keeps that were ours to like be able to port around the landscape, because otherwise it's a really long run. And so I had been doing that, and I went into the Imperial sewers and got killed, and somebody sent me a message and they're like, hey, like, why did you have so many Telvar stones on you? And I was like, I don't know, they were in like the daily present thing. They're like, you should put those in your bank, right? And I was like, well, I heard that, but I couldn't put them in my bank, so I thought maybe they had changed that since whoever wrote that advice. And they're like, no, like, go put it in your bank. And so, like, I'm looking in my bank, and I could not stick the stupid Telvar stones in my bank for anything. I was like, okay, but how? Like, they're not in my inventory, and it just tells me I can, when I go to deposit currency, I can just deposit gold. Turns out there's a little tiny down arrow next to the gold that if you click it, you can deposit other things. So I learned something thanks to a very kind player who thought to check with me after discovering that I was carrying too many Telvar stones, because this player was one of the players who killed me. So that's kind of one of the nice things about being able to talk to people on opposite sides while in PvP, I guess. Because if this person had not kindly asked, instead of just counting their luck, I would have still been carrying around lots of Telvar stones, which are apparently really valuable. And those are the only things that people can take from you in PvP when you die. So it's kind of cool to know that you can actually deposit those. And then I had an amusing game of Craft the World with friends and some odd glitches, in which Calabathian turned into a door. But on my screen, I would just like to point out that all the dwarves were dressed except Calabathians. So yeah, Kilbathians were the ones running around in the bikini and underwear on my screen. So there were definitely some glitches going on with that game. I think maybe 5 players was pushing it. But it was fun.
Last night was glitch night.
It really was. First Civ 6 was glitched out and we couldn't play, and then half the world was glitching out. But, oh well, we tried. How was your week, Terry?
Well, my Arkenstone Runekeeper died a bunch of times in the Forgotten Treasury with the Academy yesterday. We
Oh,
did
yes.
manage to get through the first 2 bosses, but the trolls, that third boss fight, just kicked our butts multiple times. The reason we did it is because, we've more or less been on level, and Calabathian and Fintan, who were our last 2 level 53 members, hit level 54, so I was like, let's go do the Forgotten Treasury, and we had to go down that general area anyway for quest purposes. So we picked up all the quests, and we went in there, and I said, okay, so I was starting to explain the mechanics, and I said, so somebody, not me, needs to go run, and somebody who can keep a track of the statues needs to go forward and keep track of the statues as they move. Yeah, that didn't happen. So we lost track of the statues and decided we would just figure it out the old-fashioned way. Let's go kill things. Okay. We sort of kind of forgot that we were in an instance, I think, because the only real instances that this group has done have been skirmishes, and skirmishes don't really challenge you the way the Moria instances challenge you. And yeah, we got to the first boss pull, and that was a wipe.
Yeah, as your hunter, I'm really sorry. I've only been in that instance as a 130 in a level 54 instance, or like a 100 plus in the level 54 instance. Yes, it was probably first like 115. And you were like, kill all the things. And I was like, I know how to kill all the things. We haven't had any problem on landscape.
Kill all the things.
You said kill all the things first. And I thought to myself, kill all the things first. Like, obviously we kill all the things first. So I shot something, and I was the reason for the wipe, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, it turns out that there are actual mechanics that we have to pay attention to. And then I was trying to explain the mechanics, and I had to go over the mechanics about 3 times, and then they're still asking me about the mechanics, because you've got the like mini boss things. I mean, they're not bosses; they're mini boss things, and they shift back and forth between corporeal and ethereal. So when they're corporeal, they can only be harmed by physical attacks, and when they're ethereal, they can only be harmed by corporeal attacks or by tactical damage. And I wasn't doing tactical damage; I was a runekeeper, and I was healing. And I was doing a very good job healing when I remembered to actually switch, because I forgot before we wiped that first time. I was like, oh yeah, I should probably be doing healing. And yeah, we finally made it through, and we did the wheels the old-fashioned way, and that was fun and entertaining watching it. Like, I didn't need them to tell me that it was a fail. I could tell it was a fail because I can see your morale drop almost in half from the acid damage. And we managed to work it out, and we got down, and we got to the first boss, and he had the same back and forth thing as the mobs that we had fought upstairs. We died again at him, didn't we?
Did we? I thought we got through him fine. We died several times upstairs with those guys, though.
I think we died again with... I don't know. I know we died.
For sure. I know I died.
I know a bunch of us died a bunch of times. So thankfully we had the VIP thingies where we don't have that huge repair bill, because that would have been pricey. And Pineleaf and I got to work on our res deeds.
Yes, thank you.
We got to compare the mini res deed with the Runekeeper res deed. So the mini res deed is 100 times, and the Runekeeper res deed is 25 times. So, yeah. Sorry, Pineleaf.
That minis can res in combat.
Does. What?
Minis can res in combat, so they have
true. He has his rally.
Reses.
Yes.
He does have the rally. Of course, he didn't pay attention when I said I had Do Not Fall on Limerick. So when Limerick died and took the Do Not Fall, Pineleaf was trying to rally him. Oops. So yeah, we're still working on communication with the group, because it's like my herding cats group, where sometimes things are fine and everybody's going in the right direction, and then sometimes you have 6 dots in 6 different spots. Usually when you don't want the 6 dots in 6 different spots. Yeah, the trolls were a killer though, that because we could not keep them apart for anything. and so we kept getting dead, lots of dead. We're going to revisit it next week, hopefully with some updated gear, because I'm wondering if maybe like armor and things, stuff that people don't normally pay attention to in the mid-range because you're rushing to get to level cap, and we have zero reason to rush to get to level cap now. So we're going to stop and take our time to do the Moria instances and work on being really good at this stuff. Maybe. Maybe.
I've got a tortoise stone on my character, so
I don't, but I can
so
stop using Destiny because I wasn't,
Yeah.
I was way behind until I started using Destiny. Now I'm kind of caught up. But in ESO, I made a shiny new Nightblade who got gear crafted by Sans and then promptly died in a cave. So yeah, she picked. Well, so I was level 3 coming out of the skipping tutorial, and got to the first quest. I had no idea where I was. Like, I didn't even know where in the world I was. I was here on the road. I picked up a quest and I was doing it. And so I had to level up to use the gear that Sans sent me because it was level 4. And I finally got leveled up to 4 and I equipped all the gear and I finished out the first quest and I started on the second quest, and the second quest took me into a cave, and I was lucky enough to be behind a couple of other players. So they kind of cleared the first half of it, and then I don't know where they went, but I needed to get through the rest of the cave, and I'm trying to be a sneaky Nightblade, so I'm trying to sneak, and it didn't work, and I got eaten by stuff. So, yeah. So then I picked up some friends, because instead of Tuesday LOTRO, we're now doing Tuesday ESO. And so we started working, and it turns out I was in Western Skyrim in ESO, and so we started working on... I got Pine Leaf and Sands through the one quest that I had already done, and then they helped me clear the cave, so we made it through the cave, and then we got to whatever the actual city is for Western Skyrim to pick up the actual
Solitude.
Yeah, Solitude. Thanks. To actually pick up the area, the region quest, the actual overall quest for Western Skyrim. At which point we ran into the Thieves' Den because I picked up the Thieves Guild DLC, Thieves Brotherhood? I don't know. Thieves Guild DLC thingy that now my characters can join the Thieves Guild. So I kind of really want to do that with her. While we were waiting for Sans to decide which character she wanted to play with us, I was sneaking around in that first town, which is Dragon's Bridge. And Pine Leaf was just kind of standing there watching me. And I'm sneaking around and I was trying to pickpocket guards.
How'd that go?
One guy took offense and I had to kill him. I got to wanted by the law and would be killed on sight.
Oh, good.
And it turns out that if you have a bounty on you and you level up, the bounty goes up.
Oh.
Like, because I was watching it tick down. So I was watching it tick down, and it had ticked down to like 76, and then I leveled up and it went up to 80. And I'm like, oh, that's not fair. But
Totally not fair.
yeah, so it took forever for the bounty to actually... It never did tick off. We made it to Solitude. Sans went in so I could port to her at the Way Shrine, and then we kind of snuck around guards and got into the Thieves' Den so I could buy my bounty off. Because, yeah, I was still... Like, I had gotten into was going to be killed on sight and had gotten down to disreputable, and now I'm okay again. So that'll be fun. And then ran a little bit more SWOTOR, really trying to find my groove again with Star Wars, while also avoiding making new alts in Star. I have so many alts in Star Wars. I think I have more alts in Star Wars than I have in LOTRO.
Ouch.
It's kind of insane how many characters I have in that game, and weirdly, a bunch of them are like fairly high level. Like, I've played through, because I love the storylines in Star Wars. So you get in the middle of and you get in the groove and you're playing through, and it's good. But I've apparently fallen out of it, and I'm trying to find it without making new characters, because I have a bunch of characters at the baby levels that I kind of stopped playing, and I don't really want to start something from scratch again. Because yeah. And then I also got back into Craft the World. Thanks, guys. Cinders, especially.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Right.
actually, there's a new DLC coming out next week, which is called Heart of Evil, which I haven't wishlisted yet, but I'm gonna because it sounds really cool. And then I was poking at mods today and figuring out which ones I wanted to keep and which ones to scrap because they've kind of changed a little bit. As they make updates to the game, it can mess with your mods. They changed the beholder appearance actually, which freaked me out today because I got one in a monster portal and I was like, oh, they made it ugly. I mean, not that beholders are really cute to begin with, but the beholder animation in Craft the World, the first one actually was kind of cute. I mean, not like I want it for a pet, but aw, I'm gonna kill you anyway, but aw. And now it's just like really ugly. It's slimmed down and it's bucktooth and it's just gross and it's like, oh, get it off my screen. Yeah, so that was my week. Pineleaf, how about you?
I'll begin with my honor warden, who finished questing in Central Gondor, and I was highly disappointed that there was no storied tale for Peлагir. Which meant
Oops.
I was really looking forward for there to be a storied tale for Pelargir. I guess that means that when I get the Minas Tirith, there's not going to be one there either.
Probably.
But
No.
probably not then. So, yeah. So it looks like there are a couple of epic, and that means I went through Pelargir with as my first epic battle that I did on that character.
First actual epic battle. Oof.
Right, since I didn't do any of the ones that were over in Rohan.
Hopefully it went a little bit better than when we tried it at level 10.
Yeah, a little bit better.
Well, that's a recorded
It's on video
series,
if you
it?
want to see it.
I was going to say that's a recorded series, or I would volunteer to go with you for the Minas Tirith ones, but no.
In ESO, we attempted to remember how to play the game. At least that's what I felt like at a couple of points in there. How do I play this character?
Every time I pick that game up again, it's like, what am I doing?
Yes.
It's not just you, Pineleaf. I feel that.
Yeah. Then for the field trip, we headed into the Forgotten Treasury, where we promptly forgot the order that the statues rotated.
And so many other things.
Yes, so many other things too, which Terry has already explained. Then in my solo Civ 6 game, I finally explored the final regions of the map. I made around turn 150 out of 500. Boy, when you get to the site, it takes so long in order to do a turn now that
yeah,
you got all these pieces to move around.
You have all those pieces, and so does everybody else.
And so does everybody. Well, it's only a 2 Civ map, so.
It's the city-states and the barbarians are moving too, though.
Well, yeah, I think there are only 3 city-states. Of course, you do have the barbarians on top of that. Yeah. Anyway, so we have that going on. And that concludes my week in LOTRO. Our top supporter this month is LOTRObuild.com. LOTRObuild.com is a collection of full LOTRO databases that includes item databases, relics databases, titles databases, and you can also use it right from Discord with LOTRObuild bot. We currently have 16 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support LOTRO players, you can go to the donations page. You can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money will be used for our podcast hosting, our website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. If you would like to support us without joining Patreon, you could contact Drac at lotroplayers.com. And we actually have another email this week. Does anyone really want to read this?
I'll take a stab at it.
Okay.
So Glambold writes, I think like most players, I was not happy with the scroll changes for allies that SSG decided to implement. Having said that, I also did not like the grind of Minas Tirith, as to get them, you could not start them directly from the quest giver, but had to travel to start them. I prefer the weeklies and Haltvis to the Minas Tirith dailies, though would like them to be available 3 times a week instead of 2. That's fair. Each week at the moment, I can do 12 quests and get as a reward 1,800 motes and 18 scrolls. Level 83, I convert the most to scrolls and get 18 scrolls level 74. If they change this to 3 times a week or 6 days, it would be very close to what you got from Minas Tirith, though they were all up to 83 and not half at 74. Thanks for the podcast, Glenn Bolt.
If you would like to send us an email, you can send it to podcast@lotrplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter. The Players Alliance @PlayersAlly, Lotra Players @LotraPlayers, Arendis @Arendis, Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles, Senswinda @Senswinda, Terry Edwin @Terry Edwin, Guarendis @Guarendis, and Calabathian @Calabathian. And I'm still tempted to say Netashell for some reason.
And here I thought
Yep.
I was making it easier, Pine. I'm
Yeah, when you change things, that doesn't make it easy. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have Lotra Players News. You can source for our shows at lotraplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.